Yo, yo. You hear that? I need to get some water. Jeez. Yo. What's going on, my beautiful brothers and sisters, fellow radiators of love? My name is Jamal Pope, aka J Phoenix, and this is going to be your weekend astrology forecast for July 8th and the 9th of 2023. Appreciate y'all joining me in this video. If you happen to join live, if you happen to watch the playback, then that's cool as well. Don't mind me. I knew I should have grabbed a little bit of water before I hopped on here, but I didn't listen to myself. So in fact, let me go ahead and just grab some water real fast. Then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna hop right into these transits. I figured I go live for this one. I figured I'd go live for the weekend astrology forecast. So give me one moment. I'll be right back. Let me get some water real fast. All right. All right, we good. All right. I'm clear. Y'all can hear me. Hopefully y'all can hear me. Anyways, welcome guys. This is going to be, like I said, the weekend astrology forecast for the weekend of July 8th to 9th of 2023. Appreciate y'all joining me in this video. And let's go ahead and hop right into it, right? Shall we? All right, well, we do have the day starting off with that moon in Pisces. I have my natal moon in Pisces at 28 degrees, so I'm actually getting hit right now with this interesting quincunx from Mars, and we're all going to experience that today, as well as the conjunction with Neptune. Hi, I'm drinking water from Georgia. Hey, there you go. What's up? How you doing, Skywalk Trees? Appreciate you joining me today. But yeah, we do have that moon. It's going to be finishing up in Pisces today, and it's going to make some awkward aspects. But it also does start the day off with a trine to Mercury. So that's nice. What's also cool about this is the fact that Mercury, of course, is here in the decan that is ruled by Neptune. Now, remember what I said about Neptune, since Neptune does rule sleep, when Neptune is going forward, he's like sleepwalking. When Neptune is going backwards, he's actually awake. So there's this element today where, with this being that Neptune is influencing this energy, right? And then we get, like I said, this trine right here. There's definitely this element where we are wanting to definitely receive this dream. We're wanting to receive, because it's 2 + 4, which is 6, which goes down to the Venus energy. Venus is also at 24 degrees, so we get a nice little harmonic of 24, 24, 24. There's definitely this element where we're wanting to receive this dream. We're wanting to, understand our emotions, understand our emotions from a deeper understanding. But the weird thing about it too is that, of course, Neptune is retrograde. So there's this element where it's kind of turned off. It's offline, right? So we get this trine. It's a nice energy, but if you're not used to really communicating your emotions, if you're not used to speaking about these things, if you tend to just hold them in and kind of clamber up, then you're probably not going to have a good time with this. I'm just saying. So it's an interesting time when we don't really have a lot of air energy and we have a lot of water and fire and a good bit of earth as well, with no air energy. So it's like, if you're not already used to communicating about the things that you communicate about, then you're not going to have a good time. So if you're not used to communicating about your emotions, you may find difficulty communicating about them, despite the fact that the planet of communication is here in Cancer, right? And it's in decan of Neptune. The other thing I wanted to talk about with this energy is that, because Cancer does rule the home, it does rule the family and stuff like that too. With this trine over to the moon, but it getting closer to Neptune and it being awake, some of you guys may actually become more aware of family dynamics, things that might have been kept hidden from you that you never even knew, the full story and the full grasp of. Mercury is the truth teller, and being that it's here in this decan of Neptune, and Neptune is retrograde in Pisces, the decan ruled by Pluto, mind you, there's certainly, and you see how this is all connected. Pluto is in the decan ruled by Mercury. So it's like, bam, they're all kind of hitting each other in a way. They're all hitting each other, bam. decan ruled by Neptune, decan ruled by Pluto, decan ruled by Mercury. There's definitely this element, this energy that's going back between these water and these earth signs, where it's like things are definitely being uncovered about family. Things are being uncovered about the home sanctuary, our inner worlds in many ways. Things are being uncovered about this. And everyone's, it's like the energies are kind of pointing fingers like they have the answer. No, they have the answer. No, they have the answer. When really the truth will be revealed. And that truth, like I said, is going to be revealed, I believe, when the sun reaches Leo and we get the Lion's Gate. That's when I feel like things are really going to come up. But that moon does finish up here in Pisces today. It makes the trine over to Mercury. So there's definitely this pointing, there's definitely this sort of focus on, well, you know what? We have this opportunity to, in many ways, bring about some healing when it comes to communicating our feelings and how we actually are perceiving things and stuff, right? Now, this moon, of course, is going to conjunct Neptune today, retrograde. This is definitely an element too, especially that it's here in Pisces, especially it's in these last few degrees of Pisces where, you know what, being that Neptune is awake because Neptune is moving, backwards, it's retrograde. Not to mention that this energy is trining Black Moon Lilith in Cancer. Not to mention this energy is quincunxing Mars and Venus, albeit it's a little bit loose, it's not exact, but they are quincunxing Mars and Venus in Leo. There is certainly this element where if we get too caught up on how we want things to look and the shininess and the sort of perfection of the way that we want things to look. And the reason why I say perfection is because Mars is getting really close to the Virgo energy too. If we get really caught up on what we perceive things to be perfect, then we cannot have a good time. The moon coming over Neptune is literally when Dorothy discovers the wizard behind the cloak, behind the drapes and whatever like that in the Wizard of Oz, and then realizes that everything was just a projection. That's what this is. So some of you guys are going to come into that sort of epiphany where you realize like you actually get behind the curtain and you realize that it wasn't really a wizard. It was a projection. It was a regular dude. All right. It was a regular dude. It was a regular chick just behind the curtain projecting and having all these special effects. And then you realize, is that really what it was all about? That's sort of what this energy is going to be about. And you can already see this starting to happen in several different areas, right? Definitely in like government and stuff like that. You're starting to see these things where it's like, we're going to start to really peel behind the curtain. And the powers that be, at least I feel like they've been trying to kind of like put things on the DL, but slowly and surely, we're starting to peel back the curtain. The curtain is starting to tear at the seams, and we're starting to get glimpses into what is really going on behind the scenes. Now, that's on a larger scale. On a smaller scale, you're going to see this as well. In your own personal life, you're going to start to see behind the curtain. This is something that you might have idolized in your life. This is something that you might have, aspired to be. This might be something that, you really just wanted to know something about. This could be some juicy tea, some juicy secrets and some juicy details in here that you're trying to figure out. We're going to start to peel behind the curtain and actually kind of see what's going on here. That's really starts today. It's been starting, but today's just another day that kind of highlights it, if you will. And here's the thing about it. There may be a level of disappointment that comes along with it. So say, for example, you are pursuing like a particular craft, right? Or you're trying to turn something into a business, or you're trying to turn something into maybe you're trying to take like a hobby or passion and turn it into a job, right? You may start to peel back the curtains in this weekend, especially, and you may get like some insight into what it really means to do that thing. And it's not going to be as rosy as you think it is. It's not going to be as dreamy and beautiful as you think it is. That's not an excuse, though, for you to throw in the towel just because it doesn't look the way that you thought it was going to look. It may end up, it probably will turn out to be better. I'm just going to be real. It might turn out to be better. You may peel back the curtain and you're like, oh, so that's what it's like to be insert whatever. I thought it was going to be something else. Don't allow any preconceived notions that you have of this. Don't allow whatever immediate thoughts come up after peeling back this thing. Don't allow those things to blind you and distract you from what you're really being shown. From what you're really being shown. Don't allow the first instance of seeing this thing, don't allow that first, that surface level, like immediate, or that's what I think about it. Don't allow that to cloud your judgment and to cloud whatever action you're going to decide to take next, because the moon is going to move into Aries today. That's the thing about this. So that moon is going to move into Aries, and then bam. And the reason why this is important too is because this is going to be the last time that we have the moon in Aries without the north node being there, because by the time that the moon comes back around to Aries, the north node will have shifted into Aries, and we will be getting every single time for the next 18 months where the moon comes into Aries, the north node will be there. So that's very important too. This is going to be an opportunity for all of us to really feel into who we are. You know what I mean? So like we get this whole dreamy like quality starting off Saturday, right? And then the moon moves into Aries, and then bam, we get like this inspiration, this spark, this fiery energy that kind of pops off. And then we ask ourselves who we are. Now you got to see, of course, the moon is going to King Kunks over to the south node. It's awkward, right? Are you going to focus on who you were in the past when you will go towards toxic situations, going towards areas where you thought was going to give you the edge and the excitement that you want? But are you going to get caught up in those things where it's like you go into these weird depths that don't really give you anything, right? Are you going to freaking go on the submersible that collapsed because you just had to go see the Titanic? I just because you have the resources to do something, are you going to use the resources to fulfill some sort of weird, strange desire that you have fulfilled in the past but didn't actually do anything for you? If anything, it actually took you backwards. Are you going to do that? Or are you going to go towards the semi-sextile, which the semi-sextile is being able to see opportunities where, because the sextile itself is like an opportunity. The semi-sextile is like being able to see the opportunity is something that otherwise you wouldn't see, if you will. So say the sextile is someone invites you out to go to dinner or to go rock climbing or whatever. Someone invites you out. That's an opportunity. The semi-sextile, especially with the moon in Aries, is like you initiating the opportunity, you going out and finding the opportunity, not it necessarily coming to you, but you actually going out and finding it. Seeing opportunity in places where otherwise it shouldn't be. That's what the semi-sextile is. And that's why it's going to be a little more difficult. The awkward shit from across the room, like I said, the person who's sitting in the classroom, the bad boy, the bad girl, the one that seems like they just have it like a cool life, whatever like that. Yeah, that's going to be enticing today. It's going to be enticing with that moon going into Aries. And it's not going to last very, very long. This happens around 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But then we have to be able to see the opportunity in places where opportunity shouldn't necessarily be. That's the thing about that too. Take a look at the comments and stuff like that as I continue to do these. What did I do? I meant to. Yeah. Make that bigger. There you go. So yeah, that moon is going to move into Aries, which is definitely going to give us sort of refreshing energy, especially because whenever the moon is in Pisces, it's definitely a recap of everything that we felt up until that point. So you get like this sort of refreshing energy. And then the moon is going to start to move into its third quarter square to the sun. Now, it doesn't happen until Sunday, mind you, but it begins to move into that energy. I also want you to see here is that on this day with Saturn, on Saturn day, right? On this day, Mars does move to 29 degrees of Leo. So it moves to that final degree of Leo and begins its quincunx over to Pluto. So once again, Mars is very strong. It's moving very fast. It's in Leo. It's in the decan that it rules too. So Mars is definitely feeling very powerful. This can certainly be an element of where we may feel like we have to rise up against maybe there's definitely a rise up kind of energy with this Mars and Pluto. There can be a rise up against what we consider to be normal, what we consider to be how should I put this? Because the word the thing that came to my mind was leaders, but it's not necessarily rising up against leaders. I think it's rising up against what society has become in many ways. There's definitely this element where it's like we're wanting to champion something else other than kind of where we have created right now, right? Pluto already destroyed all of this stuff in these last degrees of Capricorn. Now this is just the flashback. So this Mars quincunxing Pluto is going to be sort of like, okay, how did you develop over this whole time? This is like when Naruto went back to the Hidden Leaf Village and then starts to show everyone all of the powers and how he's leveled up and stuff. That's really what this energy is. So I like to think that those dum-dums did not get into their Atari powered to like set up their desk and they're on island somewhere, right? So we definitely are going to have a good bit of edge now with this Mars quincunxing over to Pluto. It's going to be moving into the sign of Virgo. So there's definitely, with Mars being here, it's about to move into an Earth sign, which means that now we're going to be hypercritical of every action that we take. But today is going to give us an opportunity to really just express our creativity, show who we are, and to really put it out there, to put it all out there. Like I said, this energy is sort of separating. There's this element where it's like, Venus is like, well, I want to feel good about it. I want to feel like I'm ready to do this. It's like Mars is ready to go into battle, if you will, and Venus is trying to say like, oh wait, don't you need this? Don't you need that? She's trying to like make sure that he's good, and Mars is like, yo, I gotta go. Like I gotta go. I will make use of whatever I have. It's like I will freaking throw dirt in the wound if I have to. I gotta go. That's what Mars is doing. Like Venus is still trying to pamper Mars, and Venus is like not even at her full strength. So there's gonna be this element where it's like, especially with the Sun and Cancer and Mercury here too, and Mercury's beginning its opposition as well to Pluto, and it's semi-sextiling Venus as well. There's definitely this element where it's like we have to look for the opportunity and pampering ourselves in ways that doesn't necessarily hold us back from taking the action that we need to take via this Mars, right? This is about, like I said, semi-sextile is like seeing opportunity where would otherwise be obvious to us, right? Venus is slowing down. We have to be able to see the beauty in our life in ways that is going to be unorthodox and it's going to be outside the norm and it's going to be not necessarily obvious to us. That's how we're going to get through this, because it's like Mars is getting ready to just go and move and take and just, kick ass and take names. And then Venus is like clambering, like, come back, please come back. And then like Mercury's like, well, we got to like figure out a way. We got to figure out a way to communicate how we feel, but at the same time, not hold ourselves back if we're not feeling 100%. Because that's the thing. I don't think anyone right now is feeling like just 100% on top of the world. We all are dealing with something right now. We all can feel that there's a lot of tension. We all feel that the heat is rising and stuff like that, like metaphorically and stuff like that, spiritually, maybe physically. Although I think technically the temperature is actually going down overall, but because it fluctuates. That's the thing about this. But we can definitely feel that something is coming. So trying to make ourselves feel comfortable during all this, we have to understand that we're not going to be at 100% every day. Some days 60% has got to be enough, you know? And I know that seems kind of harsh and pretty blunt, but sometimes it's just got to be enough. We got to be able to take that 60 and turn it to a 100. Being able to see the beauty in the things where beauty may not necessarily be apparent and obvious. I think that's what this weekend really teaches us. And with the moon going into Aries, it kind of gives us this nice little boost, if you will, because it's actually is a sextile. That's the thing about this. I didn't mention this, but the moon going from 29 degrees into 0 degrees of Aries is going to actually sextile Pluto. So actually, if you really look at this, I think this technically kind of creates a yacht because Mars will be quincunxing the moon and it'll be quincunxing Pluto. Right. So we definitely get this element where it's like, you know, we really have to be okay with the rawness of life right now. We really have to find a way to be okay with the just sort of even the randomness of life. You know, we have Uranus, which moves to 22 degrees of Taurus. 2 plus 2 is 4, which comes back to Uranus energy, and that's where Uranus is. So there's definitely going to be this element. It's like, well, shoot, we got to learn how to be okay with the randomness of life. We got to learn how to be okay with the rawness of life. We got to learn to be okay with the fact that life is metal. Like, that's the other thing. I think, especially here in the Western world, we have created like these very cushiony lives, and we just, the moment that there's like any type of negativity, any type of resistance, any type of pushback, we think that something is wrong. I'm like, no, that's just life, and life can be very metal. We say that nature is metal, but life can be very metal. Like, you just like yesterday, like I was working and we had this chick that came in. She didn't buy anything because she was looking for nicotine, and we don't sell nicotine. But she spelled out her whole life story about like she's going through like custody battles and stuff like that with their husband, and just kids calling the police on her, and her spending time in jail for 30 days and this and that, and she's coming off of different drugs and stuff and trying to detox. So it's like life can be metal, right? Life can be metal. And I think a lot of times what happens too, especially if you consider yourself an empath, is that we will hear a lot of these stories. We have a like the way that you kind of almost know that you're on the path, especially if you're like, because I mean a lot of people out here claim to be empaths, but you can tell that you start to attract people that will just spill their life story to you, like just out of nowhere. Like you didn't ask for it. Like it'll just happen. And then there's a reason why they're telling you that. It's almost sort of like a way where you can transmute the energy. But the problem is that a lot of times is that we will take that energy and we will personalize it, and then we will start to feel weird about it. We'll start to fill up some energy. We'll start to like wonder, we'll start to question things in our own life, even though this person has really nothing to do with us besides them just spilling out their life guts to us. You have to learn how to set those proper emotional boundaries. If it's one thing that the South Node in Scorpio, like I said, like a positive thing that's doing, is that it is teaching us to set healthy emotional boundaries by having us all push our boundaries. Because South Node in Scorpio definitely is like pushing boundaries, because like it's like the caution tape, but it's like, ooh, it's shiny. Ooh, it looks fun. Ooh, it looks exciting. But it helps us to set these proper emotional boundaries. So it's like, yeah, you can have people that spill their life guts out to you, and you have to learn how to like discern and be like, that's their energy. This is my energy. And just like, you can sympathize, we can empathize with others, but we have to learn how to have that sort of discernment. Anyways, so like I said, that moon is moving into Aries on Saturday, right? And then it's going to begin the third quarter square to the sun, which is really more of a Sunday transit. So I'll just go ahead and move this all the way to that, because it's going to happen pretty much later in the day. As you can see, Mars is still here at 29 degrees, right? Making the quincunx over to Pluto, which will come exact It'll come exact around 9:30 a.m. So pretty early in the morning. That's going to come exact, and this is going to be the last day that the Mars is in Leo. It will move into Virgo, but that's going to be really a Monday aspect. By that time, the moon will be here at 10 degrees of Aries, so it's going to be moving into the decan that's ruled by the sun, which is very nice. So once again, we are still feeling, with this moon in Aries, we're definitely going to be feeling some power, definitely going to be feeling some energy, like we're wanting to do something. It can kind of give a bit of a restlessness kind of energy too, because I think we all can feel like, with this Venus and Mars dance, that there's going to be maybe this sort of last ditch effort to try and like grab hold of something. Venus is trying to grab, at this point, Venus is trying to grab Mars. She's like, yo, just take me with you. Just like, not like stay here with me in Leo, but Venus is like, just take me with you. Like, can I just hitch a ride? And Mars is like, I gotta go. Like, Mars is like, I gotta go. Right? Now, here's the cool thing. That moon is going to semi-sextile Jupiter, while this quincunx is exact. So that's nice. Once again, we have to find the opportunity where it's otherwise, we have to find opportunity in things where otherwise it wouldn't be found. We have to get a little creative with this too. We have to get a little creative about finding the opportunity here. And you know what is going to really help us is that, like with the semi-sextile, Chiron in the North Node, because that's what's in between these energies, right? The North Node is about to shift, but at 0 degrees of Taurus, this is like the foundation of the foundation, like the roots. Like this is like that first layer of brick. That's what this is. And then you have Chiron here at 19 degrees, which the sun is actually beginning to square as well. It'll square that in a couple of days. Will be like Tuesday or so, right? So there's definitely going to be this. And the moon, of course, will be getting closer to Chiron. But there's going to be this element where it's like, yo, have you embraced your superpowers yet? I call Chiron, so Chiron, we call it the wounded healer and all these sort of things, right? But I see a key in opening up a door, right? Or opening up a lock, opening up a treasure chest. I see Chiron as like your superpowers. And generally, if you look at a lot of if you look at like a lot of like superheroes and like their origin stories, it's usually tragic. It usually comes from some sort of trauma. Like it's usually like that is usually where it comes from. Or take Naruto, for example. Like, he had a whole freaking fox demon shoved inside of him when he was a baby. That's got to be traumatic. He couldn't necessarily communicate it. All he could do was cry. And then, of course, he had his childhood, which he was rejected and all these sort of things and stuff like that. Didn't have a father, didn't have a mother, but that's where his superpower came from. That's what drove him, right? So you gotta search. You gotta search for that power. It's right here. It's like we gotta be able to find the opportunity. I mean, that I feel like that's like the whole theme of this weekend is looking for opportunity and looking for the beauty in places where it otherwise is not apparent and obvious to us. Now, like I said, it's going to be more of we got the moon, which is going to, around 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be that third quarter square to the sun, right? 17 degrees. 1 being energy of the sun, 7 being the energy of Neptune. And you bring those energies to an 8, which is all about commitment. And that's going to be the number in numerology for Capricorn, Saturn energy, right? So there's definitely going to be some sort of commitment, some type of decision with this whole third quarter square that's going to present a bit of a challenge on whether or not we move in a certain direction, if we want to act in a certain way, there's definitely going to be this sort of element to that. And of course, the moon's getting closer to Chiron. So it's going to be pretty much it's going to be conjuncting that energy. That energy is going to become stronger. So we have to, in many ways, make this decision. I was like, okay, I have this superpower. I do feel this certain way. I do feel that I'm wanting to really move forward and champion something. And really, when Mars goes into Virgo, see, the whole thing with Mars and Leo is like us being inspired to take action. It's inspired action to take, to really be creative. When Mars moves into Virgo, that's when the real work begins, because it's going to be about what you do on the day-to-day that's going to give you even more power. You're going to start if you continue to do what you're doing, if like you're working towards something, once Mars goes into Virgo, you're going to start to see, you're going to start seeing yourself level up. You're going to start seeing yourself level up, especially when Mars opposes Saturn and you move forward despite the fact that maybe it doesn't look the way that you want to, or the dream doesn't look the way that you want to. You're going to start to see yourself power up. You're going to start to see yourself power up, but we have to make that decision. We have to make that commitment to. It's like today is like a recommit. Like it's like recommitting to our path in many ways. Recommitting to our path. Recommitting to who we are, despite our wounding, despite what's happened to us in the past, and taking that as a superpower and just blazing a new path forward. That no matter what may happen, no matter what the circumstances may be, and no matter what the outer circumstances may be, or maybe even inner circumstances may be, that we can move forward and we can make it through this. I think we all can feel like it's just, man, there's a lot going on right now. There's a lot going on right now in the outer world and our internal world and our personal worlds. There's a lot that's going on right now. There's a lot of energy. But we are all being given, I feel, this opportunity to really, really shine and come into our own. So that's pretty much the weekend. That's pretty much the weekend as far as that stuff goes. So let's go ahead and get into the cards for today. So all right, let's see what we have for the cards for this weekend astrology forecast. I hope that you guys have. I think with that moon being in Aries, I think it is going to be positive. I think people are going to definitely feel like this is it's going to give people a nice little energy for this weekend. Definitely, like I said, it's going to feel a little bit more raw. It's going to feel a little bit more, if you don't feel 100% put together this weekend, then you're actually on the right path. if you feel like if you are trying to straighten your hair and your hair is just not cooperating with you, you're probably on the right path, right? If all of your really nice clothes, the clothes that you normally wear, if they're all dirty and you kind of neglected washing your clothes and you're down to like the things that you wear, if you're down to like the things that are like on the bench, like we all have bench clothes, right? We all have like our starting lineup for clothes, and then we all have like our bench, and then we all have like our reserves, right? So if you're down to like your reserves in certain areas, right? You know what I mean? So like if you're down to like, we all have like that one pair of underwear that's like a reserve that we wear when we absolutely run out of everything and we just haven't washed clothes. If you're down to the reserve underwear, you're actually on the right path this weekend. You gotta be able to be like, hey, at least I had this reserve. At least I had this backup. At least I got this. You know what I mean? That's what this is gonna come down to. For real though. For real. It'd be like that. We all have it. We all have like that one shirt that's like a reserve shirt that we barely wear. And like low key, it's like super comfortable. But maybe it has some holes in it, Maybe it's stretched out a little bit, you know what I'm saying? It'd be like that. It'd be like that for real. All right, let's see what we have for the cards. Whenever I get a bunch of cards that are reversed, it lets me know that all we have to do is adjust our perspective, and it's not actually as bad as we think it is. Wheel of Fortune in reverse, the Fool in reverse, and the Four of Wands in reverse. You remember what I said about recommitting? This is us recommitting, right? This is actually the third quarter square of the moon to the sun, because it's the Four of Wands. Which Four of Wands, generally, it's like people think of marriage, people think of a celebration, but it's a commitment, right? It's a party, but it's a commitment, right? You have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse, which means that we may feel like we are stuck in a bit of a loop. And then you have the Fool card where we can feel like we actually are foolish. Like, oh, why are you doing that? Why are you moving in that direction? We have the Page of Swords as the bottom of the deck too. And this was the card, like I put on the bottom, and then I drew these cards. And this is also reverse. So Page of Swords in reverse. We don't have all of the information yet. So don't go basing your assessment of a situation because you don't have all the information. Take what information you do have, take what has worked, take what you have been working on, and adjust your perspective to see something that we're going to get the information that we need to get, but it's just not going to come in the timing that we think. We can turn this frown upside down with all these reverse cards, and we can recognize the fortune, see our fortune, and see the beauty of where things are. We can see that, you know what, maybe we are foolish for embarking on this particular journey or this particular path, but fuck it. Nothing that's been worth it, nothing that's been created that's actually worth it, and that's been super valuable, and that has changed the course of humanity. None of those things started with, without a foolish idea, thinking that, I'm going to build something that's going to be faster than a horse and doesn't get tired as fast as a horse and could get me from point A to point B. What? Like, someone's going to I was like, what? You're going to do what? You're going to create what? I'm going to call it a vehicle, a car, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to solve the problem of this fear that we're going to have horse manure all over our cities. And we're like, what? You're going to, like, we've always rode on horses. You're going to create something that's what? You can drive from one side of the country to the other, and your car will get tired, but you have to just fill it up with gas, but it will take you much longer to get from one side of the country to the other side of the country on a horse. But that was probably a foolish idea at some point. Just like a plane was a foolish idea at some point. But are you going to get caught up in what society says and what the standards of society are at the current moment? Are you going to get caught up on that? People probably think it's foolish for me to do astrology because they probably think, oh, astrology is not real. How can people born on the same day not have the same exact destiny? Oh, astrology is real, or astrology is not real. But then these people go on and be like, yeah, I don't like Libras, or yeah, I don't like Virgos, or yeah, I only date fire signs. I would love to cross the country on a horse. I would too. I think that would be freaking dope. Sometimes you got to cross the country in a car. Sometimes you got to cross it on a horse because you get like this full immersive experience with the horse. And then that's the other thing about this too. It's like we got to kind of pick the way that we want to take this journey. But I say this, like, sometimes you might have like a foolish idea, but shoot, follow that idea. See where it goes. You know what I mean? But like I said, you're not going to have all the answers right now. It's like if you're wanting to manifest something or build something, you're not going to know exactly how to get to the next step, but it's just simply about making the commitment to keep putting one step in front of the other and going for it anyways. Then you will find that, yeah, maybe you were foolish, but shoot, you just might turn into a legend. I'm pretty sure, like all legends were considered to be fools at one point. All legends were considered to be fools. Just like Naruto, I keep coming back to him in this one. His dream was to become the Hokage. That wasn't going to come easy. That wasn't going to come without him having to learn, grow up, be humbled, get his ass kicked, kick some ass, and get his ass kicked some more. But he did it, and everyone thought he was foolish for it, except for Hinata and Konohamaru. Everyone thought he was foolish, but he turned the naysayers into believers. Unknown territory. You are exactly where you need to be. Unknown territory. This is uncharted territory. You don't have a map. You don't have directions. But what you do have is your skills or survival. What you do have are the skills and the superpowers that you have developed over time. So you can go into this new territory, this unmapped reality, and you can survive. You can thrive because the universe and God's not going to put you anywhere that you can't handle. You can handle where you are now, even though it's unknown, even though it's somewhere where you haven't been before, but you are there. So which means that you are a vibrational match to that area, which means that even if you have moments of failure, even if you fall down and scrape your knees, even if it hurts sometimes, you are there for a reason and you can make it because you have the skills, you have the tools to move forward. Have a great weekend, y'all. I'm going to go to the gym. I've only been to the gym once this week. I have fallen off a little bit over these past couple weeks, but I definitely need to get back into the gym. So I'm going to go to the gym. So I'm going to get my pump on, come back, and have a good weekend. So y'all take care, stay blessed, have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys on the Monday astrology forecast. Take care, stay blessed. I appreciate you guys joining in this live video. And Leo Bear, come here. I want to show you out my cat. Come here, Leo. Come here. He doesn't like being picked up. I'm gonna pick him up anyways. Oh, I know, Leo. I know. This is Leo Bear. This is Leo Bear. Say hi, Leo. Look how happy he is. He's about to get treats though, so it's okay. Say bye, Leo. All right. Y'all take care, guys. I'll see y'all later.